had the chance, obviously, to have a different vantage point than most of you. I'm standing back here watching Heather speak, watching Pete speak, watching Ashley speak, and watching everybody around here, and it's just really inspiring. You know, it makes you feel good. You know that people are willing to. This is a beautiful Saturday night in the summer of Maine, and yet here you are. Now this is a great setting, there's no doubt about it. You had wonderful barbecue. I understand there's a cold beer, although no one offered me one. I don't know why that was. Not that I drink a lot of beer, but you know, it's just really inspiring. Really, really inspiring. So, did I see Stavros Vendros here?
Yeah.
Dad, say hello.
Hey.
He's a great patriot up in Lewiston. He's fought the good fight for a long time as well. You know somebody else has fought a good fight? Linda, I don't want to embarrass you, but Linda Bean has fought the good fight in this state for a long, long time. You know, she really has been there. And as you also know, she's one of those evil business owners who didn't build it. Really? Sorry, just had to do that. Up next, I haven't met him either. There's a lot of you I haven't met, but I'd love to. In fact, I'd love to have you on my station, because this is the kind of message my audience needs to Oh, here we go. You know, I like this Ron Paul crowd pretty good. I haven't met him either, but I sure would like to. They say, you know how, well, let's just say it. The damn Democrats say we're anti-intellectual. We don't like academics, and we just want to dumb everybody down. Well, apparently, the convention chair in May was actually a rocket scientist. Believe it or not, it's true. I don't know what they're going to say about that, but I think it's pretty cool. Brent Tweed, where are you? I haven't met you yet. Brent, come on up. He helped take the convention by storm. Y'all can stand and cheer, you know.
Thank you all and welcome, and I'm actually not a rocket scientist, it's a nuclear engineer actually, but close enough.
Your point's not well taken.
So all of you who were at the state convention, I especially want to thank you all. Thank you so much. The Liberty Movement here in Maine has had some great successes recently. However, we still have a long way to go, and we have our work cut out for ourselves. Our economy is in shambles as a result of attempts at central economic planning and excessive government over the last 100 years. We have a government that fondles us at the airport. We have a government that regulates the amount of water that we can use in our toilets. We have a government that attempts to set the interest rate on credit, which gives us the business cycle and economic crisis. We have a government that prints money out of thin air and has devalued the dollar by over 95% since 1913. We have a government that involves itself in foreign affairs of other nations and in undeclared, unconstitutional wars. We have a government that wants to force us to buy health insurance, whether we want it or not. It was Ronald Reagan who said a government big enough to give you everything you want is strong enough to take everything you have. Despite these government excesses, we have enjoyed much economic prosperity in our country due to the laissez-faire policies of the 18th and 19th centuries. The author of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, was a great proponent of individual liberty and laissez-faire capitalism, and our nation's beginning was a great experiment in these principles, and we were soon the most prosperous nation the world had ever seen. However, something happened at the end of the 19th century and in the 20th century, where intellectuals gave up on these principles that made our country great in exchange for ideas such as collectivism and government intervention in both the economy and in foreign affairs. It is somewhat of a myth that things were all great at our nation's founding, since as soon as the ink was dry on the Constitution, Alexander Hamilton, one of the authors of the Federalist Papers, was already scheming on how to subvert that document by creating a strong and all-powerful central government. In fact, it was Hamilton who was largely responsible for creating our first unconstitutional central bank. But there is little doubt that the ideas embodied in the Declaration of Independence helped to shape what would become the most free and prosperous nation that the world had ever seen. So the question remains, what can we do to turn the tide on big government? Ron Paul has often said that we need an intellectual revolution in order to overturn our current cradle-to-grave government, and I believe that this intellectual revolution must be our core focus. And make no mistake, the outcome will determine the fate of human civilization, whether we are destined for tyranny or destined for freedom. We all must fully engage ourselves in this intellectual revolution by educating ourselves in the ideas of liberty and Austrian free market economics. A good place to start is to read The Law by Frederick Bastiat, Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt, and all of Ron Paul's books. Seriously. One should then progress to the greatest thinkers in the libertarian and free market tradition, such as Ludwig von Mises and Murray Rothbard. I want to end with this quote from the great libertarian and founder of the Ludwig von Mises Institute, Lew Rockwell. And it's a long quote, so bear with me. We must begin again to imagine that freedom itself could work. In order to do this, we must learn economics. We must come to understand history better. We must study the sciences of human action and relearn what Juan de Mariana, John Locke, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, Frederick Bastiat, Ludwig von Mises, F.A. Hayek, Henry Hazlitt, Murray Rothbard, and the entire liberal tradition understood. And that's liberal as in classical liberal. What they knew is the great secret of the ages. Society contains within itself the capacity for self-management, and there is nothing that government can do to improve on the results of the voluntary association, exchange, creativity, and choices of every member of the human family. If you know this lesson, if you believe this lesson, you are part of the great liberal tradition. You are also a threat to the regime, not only the one we live under currently, but every regime all over the world, in every time and place. In fact, the greatest guarantor of liberty is an entire population that is a relentless and daily threat to the regime, precisely because they embrace this dream of liberty. The best and only place to start is with yourself. This is the only person that you can really control in the end. And by believing in freedom yourself, you might have made the biggest contribution to civilization you could possibly make. After that, never miss an opportunity to tell the truth. Sometimes thinking the unthinkable, saying the unsayable, teaching the unteachable is what makes the difference between bondage and sweet liberty. I challenge you to enter into the great struggle of history and make sure that your days on this earth count for something truly important. It is this struggle that defines our contribution to this world. Freedom is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself and give all of humanity. So thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult you by calling you a rocket scientist.